We as humans are naturally social creatures that thrive off acceptance and validation from those around us. Our burning desire to acquire validation can lead us to make radical decisions. But just how far would you go to feel accepted by your peers? Would you lie about having cancer or pretend to be your dead wife? If you're anything like Evelyn Murphy, these options are completely morally justifiable. Ever since the loss of her late wife, Evelyn has been attending weekly cancer support group meetings, posing as her deceased partner, Abigail, who passed away of leukemia. This desperate attempt to regain support and validation in her life is a product of a deeply troubled childhood, where Evelyn was a victim of neglect and isolation, damaging her idea of love and stunting her ability to care for herself. Due to her parents' disapproval of her sexuality, Evelyn decided to cut ties and start a new life studying abroad, where she met her future wife, Abigail. Abigail was Evelyn's missing puzzle piece and provided her with the love and support she had been craving her whole childhood. Since her death, Evelyn has been completely deluded by her grief and has been unable to process it in a healthy way. Since moving from home, she'd only ever made her life around Abigail. She had few friends of her own and felt more isolated than ever. However, while attending a final support meeting shortly after her wife's death, she had been mistaken for Abigail and in turn been flooded with love and support by the other members at the meeting. This then led to Evelyn regularly attending meetings and settling into a comfortable routine of lying and manipulation. The story begins outside the community hall in which Evelyn attends her weekly support group meetings. She's on the phone to her brother having a casual conversation when he refers to her by the name Evelyn, in turn introducing her to the audience. She then proceeds to lie to him about her whereabouts and makes an excuse to end the call as she follows everyone into the hall. This misleads the audience and gives them the first indication that something is not adding up. Upon entering, Evelyn adapts to the deflated tone of the room. She speaks with other attendees in a sickly tone, as if she too is suffering the same as they are. She alters her appearance to match the other members and feigns being sickly and unwell as a means to gather their support and their sympathy through their concerned queries regarding her health. The inciting incident of the story occurs when Evelyn spots her former friend Olivia standing just meters away from her. This immediately causes a dramatic shift in her demeanor as Evelyn starts to panic and look for an escape. Olivia's presence acts as the external conflict as Evelyn believes that Olivia is a threat that will take away her only source of validation. In truth, Olivia is not an evil or vindictive force and has no intention of disrupting Evelyn's false reality. Instead, she acts as a direct manifestation of Evelyn's guilt and anxiety regarding her immoral actions. The second act of the story follows Evelyn as she tries to make many desperate attempts to avoid Olivia and escape the meeting. Olivia calls out to Evelyn from across the hall, unaware that everyone in the meeting only knows her as Abigail. This only adds to Evelyn's panic. She attempts to ignore Olivia and turns to the group she's currently with and asks nonchalantly who the new member is and who they are calling out to. However, this backfires as the woman next to her states that she actually knows Olivia and invited her to the meeting. She then offers Evelyn the opportunity to meet Olivia. This is Evelyn's first opportunity to come clean and talk with Olivia, but instead she makes up another lie and heads towards the exit, in hopes of escaping without her false identity being compromised. As Evelyn is seconds from the exit, Olivia grabs her wrist, forcing her to turn and face her truth. Olivia remarks that she hasn't seen Evelyn since Abby's funeral and asks how she's holding up. This sends Evelyn into a frenzy as she lashes out and finally crumbles to the floor in shame of her wrongdoings. She abruptly escapes, with Olivia slowly trailing behind, but after a few meters of sprinting, Evelyn pauses and stares into space, deep in thought. We then see Evelyn turn back towards Olivia, back towards her facade, and finally she decides to face them. Evelyn breaks down and walks into Olivia's open arms, apologizing for what she's done. Olivia is a key contributor to Evelyn's growth and acts as the catalyst responsible for leading her to a stronger understanding of love and where it can be found. Olivia represents the idea of loving unconditionally, which is central to the main themes of the story and acts as living proof that others will care for Evelyn without the need for manipulation and deceit, and is one of the driving forces of the story's message. After this, Evelyn then displays her growth by re-entering the meeting to apologize to the attendees, but is subsequently shunned and banned from attending. Despite this, the resolution exhibits hope as Evelyn has begun taking the first steps towards developing a healthy sense of self-love and is owning up to her immoral actions. Although she did lose her place within these meetings, Evelyn has grown to acknowledge her wrongdoings, allowing her to stop playing a victim as a source of validation. She learns to gain healthy love and affection through being herself rather than building characters more deserving of that love. Evelyn Helen also begins to heal from Abigail's passing, finally beginning to acknowledge her grief and sort through it. She leaves the story with a sense of hope and a more empathetic view of the world, displaying her character development and growth.